So this is the weekend, of course, of the coronation. I know there are a lot of people out there who are like, oh, great, the coronation. I'll make sure I'm watching. And others, of course, will be up bright and early on Saturday morning. And you'll be able to hear, by the way, if you're, got the radio around. Ken Connors, who hosts the weekend show here, will be able to get you caught up on all that. We have reporters there from CTV. There's a whole bunch of CTV reporters there.
Special coverage here on CJAD begins at 6 a.m. on Saturday. Yeah. Other places like CTV, it begins as early as 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah. So CTV, they began coverage 3 days ago. I've been seeing half the people at CTV News down there, including our next guest, FERNANDEZ, who's a CTV News anchor. MERELLA, when did you get down there? How long ago did you get to London?
Well, when I got here and when I was supposed to get here, two very different stories here. As you can imagine, sometimes that happens. So I was supposed to actually fly in Saturday evening, get here Sunday morning, but my flight got canceled after sitting on the tarmac for 3 hours. So I know it was a lot of fun. And so I actually got here very early Monday morning, which I was trying to avoid doing because I had to sort of hit the ground running. But, that's what happened.
You got to do what you got to do, yeah.
Exactly.
So I know already, I've seen the rehearsals and the pomp and circumstance. It's already begun down there. But, of course, yesterday the story that we were kind of wondering about was there was an arrest made outside of Buckingham Palace. What happened yesterday?
So here's what happened. The media is set up in a circular around Buckingham Palace, and that circular, which is essentially a driveway outside of the gates of the palace, members of the public are allowed to walk around that. And yesterday, they were doing that. There were throngs of people there for hours just walking through, wanting to get a quick glimpse of Buckingham Palace. So mainly tourists, you imagine, that are screwing around there. And what happened was later in the day, the reporter spot where we were stationed got evacuated. So my colleague, Joy Malvin from CTV National News, got cleared out of there with her camera crew. And what had happened was they had somebody who was going around in that driveway, which is right by the palace gates, and he threw something in, like, beyond the palace gates. You can actually throw it. You don't have to throw it over. You can throw it through. There's enough room. The reporters that it ended up being ammunition, and they arrested this man very quickly, found he had a knife on him but no gun, and he also made mention at the time about treating his bag carefully. He had a knapsack that he had put somewhere. So police, because they didn't want to risk anybody's life or pose any risk to the public, they carried out a controlled explosion for the knapsack. So we don't really know what was in it. They thought it was better to act more prudently. That's what they did. And then after that was done, people were allowed to come back. But today at Buckingham Palace, in that same area, that round circular driveway, there was no member of the public. They were shut off from that. So a larger security area has been cordoned off. And you have to have credentials and basically these bright orange or yellow vests to be allowed to go anywhere near Buckingham Palace today.
Okay. And has the feeling palpably changed? Like, I'm sure security has been on the highest level since day one of this, but now that this incident has happened, is there sort of more of a skittish feeling, MERELLA?
I don't really think there is, and here's why. They got to this guy very quickly. They eliminated a threat immediately. They took the action they needed to take. And I say that because a few hours later, so wee hours in the morning, they carried out a rehearsal in that same area for the coronation procession, which happens on the weekend. And so that means there were thousands of members of the armed forces out there with the horses, with the gold state carriage that's there. So they obviously felt like they were in a secure position. They had things under control to carry out that rehearsal in the early morning hours. And then today, the first of the Palace Royal Garden parties began. They have 3 of these every summer at Buckingham Palace. And it's members of the public. 8,000 people show up to Buckingham Palace, invite only, and they're allowed to walk around on the grounds outside of the palace in the back, which is not open to the public, and meet members of the royal family. So the king and queen would have been there to greet them as well. So clearly they didn't feel like they needed a complete lockdown. Otherwise, they would have made other arrangements or canceled that party and even put the rehearsal on hold. They didn't do that.
Just as a final question, because we're going to meet someone, a Canadian actually, who's going down there to be there firsthand to see this on Saturday. You getting the sense there's a lot of sort of, energy, a lot of positive energy around this, or you getting the sense that more people don't really care?
I think there is a lot of energy. And I'm actually surprised by that because I don't think I expected it. And even 3 days out, you do get a feel in the city that people are getting excited about it, whether that is local people or whether that is tourists flooding into the city. There's definitely sort of a heightened awareness that something big is going to happen. Now, we don't know how many spectators will show up the day of. You know, there are lots of hardcore Royal fans who will and do, and they'll line that route just to catch a glimpse of the day. But some people, you know, even if they're not Royal fans, it's just such a spectacle. It really is something to watch and take in that I'm sure a lot of people will just be stopped by the presence of it and just want to be a part of a historic moment, right? I mean, if you're not a Royal fan, you're still going to be part of history coming out that day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Indeed. So that buzz is there. Hey, MERELLA, thank you so much. It's good talking to you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
MERELLA FERNANDEZ from CTV National News. Got there a day late, but she's there now.
She got there. The weather, by the way, is not looking great for the coronation on Saturday. They're looking at cool, wet weather, which is oh so London. And we are about to meet someone who is going to be there. She is such a huge fan of the royal family that she felt compelled to fly to London to be there for King Charles's coronation in person. Janice KLYMSON is from Toronto, Ontario, of course, and she joins us now. Hi, Janice.
Oh, hi, Natasha. Hi, Erin.
So nice to meet you. So how long has this been in the works? How long have you been planning to do this?
Well, I have to say that I have watched every wedding, unfortunately the Queen's funeral, all of these things back home in Canada. And this time I turned to my husband and I said, I just got to do this, right? I've been a fan for 50 years. And I said, I'm getting on a plane and I'm going now. So that's how long it's been in the works. I got my Airbnb, I got my flights, and I was all ready to go at the end of December.
You're there now. You arrived this morning?
I am. Yes, I did. I arrived this morning, but I am just on such a high. I mean, you can just see all the enthusiasm out there. The people are starting to decorate the windows with all that traditional bunting, flags waving everywhere. I mean, it just looks amazing, and I think the city's starting to get that buzz.
So I'm curious, on the day of, or what's your plan to be as close as you can to what's going on? How do you do that? Do you have to camp out half the day? What's the deal?
Well, great point. So I've been watching to try to figure out how to do this for quite a few months. The government has a great website, and, the Brits, it's military position. They have it just under lock and key. So they have all the routes, where you can actually go to the visiting areas. I'm planning to go to the Mall, St. James Park, and they basically say, show up by no later than 6 a.m. They let you into the viewing areas. One by one by one. When they're full, they fill up the next area. But they also have screening around different parks. They have one in St. James Park right there next to the mall, Hyde Park, towards the west end of the city, and Green Park, which is the big park around Buckingham Palace. So the good news is they have porta potties everywhere. Thank goodness.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's good.
That's very
I'm really glad, Janice, that you've already scoped that out. Okay, and what about, I know that you met King Charles when he was just Prince Charles, and you've actually met Princess Diana as well?
Oh, yes. I mean, those are two of the most significant moments I've had in my royal watching, I guess, career. First of all, when Prince Charles and Princess Diana were here in 1991, sadly, it was just before they separated. And so nobody knew that at the time, but they were here, and the Royal Yacht Britannia was down in the harbor. I was there with my mom, and we scoped everything out. She knew somebody that was an aide-de-camp to the lieutenant governor, so we knew what the itinerary was. We were there when the two of them arrived and pulled up at the lieutenant governor's residence. We went down to the Royal Yacht Club where the Britannia was. There was only about 100 of us there, and we got to see that incredibly iconic, emotional moment where Princess Diana ran up the gangplank and hugged her sons. But, it was only maybe 100 of us there, so I feel so blessed to have seen that. And then at the Royal York Hotel, there was a big fundraiser dinner, and she walked in, and I was the only person that she met. She just stood right in front of me. She came right over to me. It was incredible, and I gave her flowers. It was just, I can't even describe the experience. It was almost like I was just floating afterwards.
I love that you sound so excited still, even when you recount this. I mean, that's wonderful.
How do I sound every time I tell you about when I met the Queen? It stays with you. It's like an amazing moment.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, Janice, we're excited.
I don't know what it is.
I'm curious too. You say you're staying at an Airbnb?
Yes, I am.
Hey, did you book this like months in advance? And just curious because I'm curious how much that costs. Like, did they gouge you for this?
Well, great question. Actually, you know what? I think London's a fairly big city, and so there's and it's touristy all the time. And so when I was doing the research, I was looking for something in around the $400 to $500 a night, somewhere actually not downtown in London. I wanted to stay in one of the suburbs of London, so I'm in a gorgeous place across the river called Bermondsey, that's just beside Tower Bridge. And the Tower of London. So it's on the other side of the river there. And I did my research. I probably bookmarked about 50, 60 back in December. I booked it in December. And you know what? I went and looked today. They're all gone. Like on my trip wish list. Like they're gone.
Advanced planning.
Oh, thank God I did it back then.
Always the way to go.
Everything.
Hey, have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourself down there, Janice. And maybe we can speak after this is all over. Let us know how it was.
Oh, it was wonderful speaking to both of you.
Thank you
Have
so
a great
much.
day.
All right. Janice KLYMSON.
Everybody.
She's going to be there on Saturday at the coronation of King Charles and has planned this well in advance.
Her whole life, really.